Oh, there is a timer.
And you can hear all of us too.
Oh,
Yeah. The timer is there, but people can hear you. What are you messing with?
my seat. All right, guys, welcome, everybody. I'm Daren Garcia, a middle-aged Republican from Hidalgo County. Joining me today is a friend, Roman Perez from the Roman Perez Show, a Brownsville political operative, South Texas political aficionado, and apparently the boogeyman inside our organization. Welcome.
What's up?
How's it
This is
going?
your first like sort of real podcast.
Right? And then I
How
got
does
my
it
bird
feel?
up here like
That's so cool.
live too.
So he's live too. Well, did you decide where you're streaming this thing to? So people can know where to find you.
Yeah, so I streamed it on Facebook and on X for now. I guess I'll add it to Instagram and I'll add it to YouTube later. But I
Okay.
just wanted to start something today because if I don't start today, I'm never going to start. So
Yeah,
we're
you got to
just
start already.
friend Tim Wilkins on here as well, but I guess he was a little busy today. So
Probably. It's a Sunday.
yeah, I don't blame him.
There's a lot of stuff going on, so I don't know who's going to comment, who's going to watch it, or what, and hopefully people will
I don't
want
got a lot
to
of
join you.
followers. I think I got like 1,500 followers.
No, that's not a lot. No, of course not. That's not a lot of people. Like, do you know all 1,500 people on your page?
On my page, basically, yeah, almost all of them right now.
Oh,
But
okay.
lately,
Well,
when I
hey, that's
started
a
talking
lot of
about
people. That's a lot of people.
issues, and I've been starting to cover the McAllen ISD bonds and stuff.
Hmm.
I had like 1,300 friends, and now I'm at 200 people are just new people that I've met,
Along the way.
events and stuff like that.
Hmm. Cool. All right. So there's a lot of cool things you wanted to talk about, and anybody that comments, I guess, can like lead us the way.
Yeah.
Lead the way.
So basically, I wanted to talk about this McAllen budget workshop that I attended on Wednesday.
Okay.
And basically, they have a proposed increase for our tax rate of 3 cents, is what
Oh,
they
wow.
were. Yeah, and they want to spend $60 million on parks, 12.4 million dollars on an indoor shooting range, and a whole lot of other
But
stuff.
that's not for like you and me to go have fun shooting, right? It's not like one of
No,
those
it's
places.
for law enforcement. I guess like for them to be like to get their certifications or whatnot.
Mm.
But I don't know. I mean, 12.4 million. I'm not an expert, but it sounds like a lot of money for a shooting range.
Have you looked at different places and how much those kinds of shooting ranges cost? I mean, everything's gone up, dude. I mean, all the prices have gone up. I mean, you and I were talking about microphones, and I told you how much this microphone cost me back in 2020 when I first bought it. You know, during the scamdemic that I guess I believed in. I guess I thought it was real. But yeah, and it was like what $100 I think when I bought this thing, and you're like, well, shoot, things are really expensive now. And I don't know who to blame anymore. Are we supposed to blame Biden or are we supposed to blame Trump? Who do we blame for the rising cost of microphones?
Probably all members of Congress for
Oh.
inflation and for spending money. And I think our national debt's now at $40 trillion or approaching it.
Mm-hmm.
And, it's not good. It's a lot of money. I think when you compare it to our gross domestic product, it's like 126% or over 130% of our gross domestic product to GDP ratio. Or percent.
So tell people who you are, because I mean, this is your show, not mine.
Yeah.
And I mean, people would ask me, well, who the hell is this Daren guy? Like, I actually talked to a Politico friend of mine a few days ago, and I was talking. Hey, he asked me like, who's this Daren guy? Like, what is he like? And I was like, well, I know a little bit about him. I know he's a hard worker. He owns like several businesses, and he's like a real conservative. And he doesn't take BS from anybody, and he'll fight with anybody. And so,
Pretty much.
Like, he's pretty cool. That's you, right?
Como dicen en español, no tengo pelos en la lengua. But so I started a trucking company in 2020. I started as an owner operator, driving for a friend of mine. He let me lease onto his company. So basically, when you lease onto a trucking company, you usually have your own equipment. You have your own trucks and trailers, and the person that you're leasing onto has their own motor carrier authority. and they'll get you the jobs, and then you give them a percentage.
Mm-hmm.
And then I think I did that for like 6 months with my buddy, and then I started my own trucking company. My first year, I had over 8 trucks, and we grossed over $1 million. That's my first year not knowing really what I was doing.
Mm-hmm.
And it was pretty tough because at the same time I had my son, and it was too much work for me, I guess, and too much stuff to learn, all at once.
Mm-hmm.
I scaled it back a little bit, and after doing that for 3 years, I decided to start a freight brokerage company. So now basically, like, customers will call me, hey, I have this machine in San Antonio, I need it moved to McAllen.
Mm-hmm.
I'll quote them, let's just say $600. I hire a truck driver to do it for $400. Then I just made $200 off of that one call. So that's what I'm trying to pivot to for now. But I've always been involved in politics. I've always liked it since I was young. Obviously, being from McAllen, Texas, as a Latino, Hispanic kid going to public schools, I would ask my teachers, hey, what's the difference between a Democrat and a Republican? And they would say, hey, mijo, you're Hispanic, you're poor, you're a Democrat. And I always just knew that there was more to it. And I guess with time, I started kind of like looking at the issues and taking college courses. And that's when I found my identity of being more of a libertarian conservative.
Well, that's cool. But you're now involved in the Republican Party there in Hidalgo County. So that's, you're like rarely involved. You have a bunch of organizations you're a part of. You block walk and things like that. So it's very, very important to be involved. But you've gotten a chance to get to know some of the commies in your community too, because I think you were helping out one particular candidate in the state house race. Was that really like the first race you were ever truly involved in, where you were like
my first race that I was ever involved in was in 2015, 2016. I helped a candidate. His name was Javier Salinas, or Xavier with an X, Salinas. And I was helping the Donald Trump campaign. So I was co-chairman for CD15 of Texas for the Trump campaign. And that's what kind of got me into politics. It was more of the national level presidential election stuff, not necessarily the state races or Senate races or anything. It was the presidential one. But since that district, which was CD15 at the time, I was a co-chair for the Trump campaign. It kind of overlapped with Javier Salinas's, so I was helping him. In case you don't know who he is, he ran against Ruben Villarreal, and he ran against I think his name was Tim Wesley from San Antonio, and Ruben Villarreal is now Monica de la Cruz's district director, so he's still involved in politics.
I'm trying to figure out where you're streaming this. I decided to look and see where you're streaming. You're streaming on your personal page?
Yeah.
Because it's not streaming there at all.
Really?
Yeah, it's not. This is your first podcast, so I expect there to be some sort of like potential issues always. And I was like, I'm surprised no one's commented by now. Usually people will comment, especially on your page. So I don't know where you're streaming it at. Just curious.
Let me see.
Yeah, just because I want to make sure that's why he has me on, because he wanted help, and I'm like, yeah, sure, I'll go on, no problem, I don't mind, and make sure everyone is commenting, because you should also be able to see on the upper left hand corner where it says live on your page, not me, I can't see it. You should be able to see how many people are currently watching. So if anybody's watching out there, just make a comment so we know that somebody's watching and that this thing is streaming properly. Because if not, we have problems. Right. But like right now, I'm on your personal page on Facebook, and I'm not seeing it at all. Unless I have bad internet, which I don't think I do. I pay enough money.
It says live.
It does on your personal page, really?
Yeah, and it says we've been on for 9 minutes and 27 seconds.
That's weird. Like it's not showing up on mine at all. Like I went to your page and it's not even there. It's weird. Let me tag you. If you want to, no worries.
Yeah, let me tag you and see if you'll get like a notification on there.
Cool.
So yeah.
Yeah, like I'm on your page right now, and it's not. I'm not even seeing it at all, and I haven't gotten a tag yet. But go through. Let me. That's odd. That you're saying so you're on your page and you can see it.
I can see it. Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
That's weird. Like the last thing I see on your page is from 23 hours ago or 18 hours ago. It's the last thing I see on your page. And I haven't gotten your notification at all. You have 1,500 followers.
That's what.
No worries. I'm sorry.
Oh, well, yeah. Back to the. Well, that's what kind of got me involved. And at that same time, I was president of the STC Young Republicans.
What's that?
Well, it was just South Texas College. It's a community college. And yeah, so I was the creator and founder of that group. And that group's currently, I mean, it doesn't exist right now because we can't find anyone at STC that wants to restart it, I guess. So if anyone's watching and you go to STC, holler at us.
Okay, yeah. So, I still haven't gotten your notification at all. You want to? Maybe you can go on to where you're watching it and tag me on that one, and maybe I'll get something. Who knows? Because I have not gotten even.
Okay,
that's odd.
Let me see.
Again, work in progress.
Right.
I want to make sure that. Because if I'm not seeing it, maybe other people aren't. Does it show you how many people are watching so far?
No, it doesn't. It's not showing me.
It's weird.
Let me see. It doesn't show me how many people are watching it, but I can see it.
You can see it on. So you're actually on Facebook right now.
Yeah, I'm on. Okay, let me. Yeah, I can see it.
It's on Facebook, but I'm not. But you can make a comment. Just make a test comment or tag me on it or something, and that way we can see it on the right hand side. Because I'm not seeing it at all, and I usually see all your stuff.
Right. There, I commented test.
Yeah, we should have been able to see on the right hand side. You see how it says private chat and his comments or whatever recording. We should have been able to see comment on it. That's weird. Well, I'm not seeing anything at all.
Damn. Well, we can just continue.
No, yeah. Well, I just want to make sure people are commenting and people can see your show, and I want people to be able to comment live. I'm literally not seeing it, and I haven't. Even when you said comment, it's not. StreamYard's not showing live viewer account comments show up on StreamYard. This is an example. Like I should have been able to see. There you go. You see how it does that? Like, are you able to see the next one? Like, where's yours? Like your test word. You should have been able to see it. When you said a comment test on it.
Okay. Yeah, no, it's got.
It's not integrated. Maybe.
It's not even letting me comment on there.
Well, no, you should be able to comment on Facebook itself, and then it will populate wherever you see StreamYard. You can take it off. It'll appear right there.
Oh, okay.
That's where it should appear. If somebody commented.
Okay. Let me see. There,
but it should have uploaded on there, and you should have been able to see it. Like right down on the lower right hand side on your screen, it should say new comments will appear here in time, whatever. You should be able to see it. You should be able to see your test, but it's not showing up for whatever reason.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, because I'm not seeing it on my phone, so it's whatever. Anyway, keep going. Sorry. Okay, so there were a few things you wanted to talk about. One of them was the McAllen tax stuff, and you wanted to also talk a little bit about what's going on with local politics, with Texas 34, Texas 15, House District 41. So those are some of the sexy races that are going on in this,
right.
So
well, first of all, I guess I want to start with the McAllen ISD bond that passed a few months ago. I was super against it. They kept giving propaganda, like even like the mayor of McAllen, nothing against him, but the mayor of McAllen, a lot of people kept pushing talking points that were misleading, like the tax rate is not going to increase, it's going to stay the same, but they prevented a tax decrease. So, it's basically a tax increase. And I'm sure you're familiar with that because I've seen some of the stuff that you've covered on your podcasts before and stuff. And you had the same situation with the Brownsville ISD, right?
Oh yeah, we had our Brownsville ISD election in November, and it failed gloriously. And I say gloriously because I don't in our ISD it was roughly $1 billion that was going to be paid. It wasn't just the principal with the interest because people don't pay attention to that. And I recall the Republican nominee. Now he's a Republican nominee. At the time he wasn't. He was running for the Republican nomination for Attorney General. Mays Middleton. He came down and he talked about a bill that he had presented that went nowhere in the state house, and that's something that we need to be able to push our state house candidates to say, hey, we're gonna make sure this happens. And what it was is on your ballot, it wasn't just going to say the principal. Like it's like, hey, we have a $500 million bond. And that's what it says it's going to be. I think
this is what it's going to cost in a 30-year period, right?
Right. It would say the cost of the principal and the total interest, so people realize the true effect of it. But again, the state Senate, it went somewhere. It got passed in the state Senate, but on the state house side, it didn't go anywhere. And I think a lot of that has to do with the dynamics of lobbyists in Austin and the differences between the Senate, which is very much controlled by the Lieutenant Governor. The Lieutenant Governor can do whatever he wants to, essentially, and get past whatever he wants on the floor, get on the floor. But it's not necessarily that way in the state house. The state house, you have liberal Democrats that have a lot of sway, people like James Talarico, Gina Hinojosa, who are liberal Democrats who have a little bit of sway because they work together with the state, the Speaker of the House. And because Republicans are kind of split between the real, I'm going to say the word real conservatives, Republican, but they're all Republicans, right? I'm not saying they're not Republicans, but the ones that we perceive, grassroots people, perceive to be the real, true, hardcore Republicans, there are not that many of them.
Right.
And so you have the moderate, what we would probably call moderate establishment Republicans that have some sway in the state house. And so they can combine, there's not a majority of like hard Republicans like there is in the state Senate. So they have to pass middle of the road stuff. So and then you get the little greedy little lobbyists that get their little hands on some of our Republicans, whether it's, and they tend to be taxpayer funded lobby groups. They get their sway and they're like, no, we can't do that. Why would we want to tell everybody, the voters, that it's going to cost $1 billion with principal and interest on this school bond in Brownsville? Or in your case, it was about $700 million or something with the principal and interest of the school. It'll never get passed if we do that. So no, don't do that. It's like, you know what? That's right. We will, because they can argue, well, the interest can change. It might not be this interest because an entity could later on down the line refinance their loan, make it smaller payments. They could pay it off earlier, and therefore the interest is not this amount. So they can make all these kinds of stinking arguments for that, and because the state house doesn't want to put it on the floor because it's so convoluted, the system, to be able to get stuff done in the state house. It's a lot easier in the state Senate when you have a lieutenant governor who, by the way, has a tough race right now. If you look at some of the polling that's going on statewide with Dan Patrick versus some no-name Democrat named Vicki Goodwin, they have a poll where Vicki Goodwin is within a point of the lieutenant governor, which is unheard of. And so we can't afford to lose that position because in a lot of ways, the lieutenant governor is the most powerful position statewide in Texas government. It's more powerful than the governor in many respects. Right. But yeah, so I don't know what it was over in McAllen ISD, but I think that's what you're going at is McAllen ISD. They've raised their taxes. They're going to say, no, we didn't raise your taxes. It was always the same tax rate. No, you made the tax rate.
Well, the thing is that this year, the interest and sinking rate was going to go from 13 cents to 0. So right. we were going to be debt free. And so 13 cents from 0, that's a 13 cents decrease. And so basically they said, hey, we're going to pass a new bond for 30 years. It's $335 million. And if you account for, interest and all other stuff, good stuff that you're saying, explaining with Mays Middleton's bill, if it would have passed, it
Mhm.
would have been forced to say 652 million.
Mhm.
And the problem with this is the compound interest, like you were mentioning earlier. I think we're going to spend 10.5 million a month. A year in just interest, and 11 something million is going to go to, paying principal. So it's just pretty crazy because my whole thing is I wasn't against investing in our schools. I was just against the bond. I wanted to see like a pay as you go system. I spoke to a few trustees within the McAllen ISD, and they explained that under Texas law that they're limited from doing stuff like that. And I said, well, we should talk to them. Y'all shouldn't be forced to just borrow money if there's better solutions, for the school district where you could do a pay as you go structure. But one of the arguments that they were saying is the same one that City of McAllen is using right now, is that the cost of construction and et cetera tends to go up. And so we should invest in borrow the money now before, it just gets more expensive, which I could see that argument, because the same thing happened with Eloy Pulido when he was the county judge down here in Hidalgo County, and they built that the county jail here. They had proposed a bigger one, and he chose the more conservative budget one that had less space for inmates. Mm-hmm. And now it's cost us hundreds of millions of dollars in the past, years, 20 years, I think, where we have to pay other counties nearby to hold some of our inmates. Mm-hmm. So I could see that argument as well, but that's where I was at. And then the problem with the McAllen ISD one is we just had that new ESA program with the schools, vouchers or whatever you want to call it. Some people get mad when I say vouchers, but that's kind of the way I see it. And my whole thing is that's only been in effect for, less than a year or two. And we haven't been able to see the trends of, hey, are people going to actually take their kids out of public school and put them into private schools? Mm-hmm. And then, we had some schools down here with a utilization rate of like 40 to 50%, with just two schools that were over 100% utilization on students. So I had a lot of concerns, and I just didn't think it was the right time. The economy is kind of, with high interest rates right now, it's kind of rough. And, I think people deserved a tax decrease. It was warranted.
Yeah.
But yeah.
But now you have a problem in McAllen, as you have an inflated tax rate for the school district, but now you have other entities that are like, well, we need to raise our taxes, and you see the city of McAllen looking at raising taxes by 3 cents, and that's on top of your rising appraisal review of your appraisal of your property. Exactly. And you have businesses that are going to have to pay that as well, not just property owners like like you are in McAllen, but you have businesses that are going to have to pay that inflated rate. And who are they going to pass it down to? They could have had a 13-cent savings on not having to pay school taxes on interest. That would have allowed them to maybe lower prices on regular people, because now they don't have to pay as much money in taxes. They can lower their prices and make living in McAllen more affordable. It would attract more people by having lower tax rate. It attracts more people to go to Brownsville and spend their money in McAllen. And you want to do that. But unfortunately, now you have an inflated tax rate with the BISD. McAllen ISD, sorry, I keep saying Brownsville, I apologize. McAllen ISD, and now you have the city of McAllen raising tax rates. Who else is doing it? And so if let's say you live in Westlake and you want to go ahead, let's go eat dinner in McAllen, you're going to be paying more money. I went last night to a local Raising Cane's, and I'm used to buying a caniac and a box, which is the 4 chicken tenders, a drink, whatever, and then the caniac, which is 6. They just went up in price. I'm used to paying like $27 for the 2 things, or like about $27. Last night I had to pay over $28. Like, it went up $1, and you're like, what the hell, $1? Like, I know $1 just may not sound like a lot. And that's what these politicos, many of them are Democrat politicos in McAllen, throughout Hidalgo County, and in Cameron County, throughout the valley. That's just $1. Like, it doesn't cost anything, but it freaking adds up.
Yeah.
I mean, it does. And you start thinking, I mean, like, it's not even affordable. And unfortunately, we have some Republicans in our party, like Dan Crenshaw. When I became, people call him that, not me, but well, I call him that too. Get another job. Like, you shouldn't have to get another freaking job to be able to go out to eat at like Raising Cane's. Well, right. If Raising Cane's is raising prices, can you imagine what's going to happen to some of those small places? Like, let's say Zamora's restaurant, which is owned by JJ Zamora, which is the city commissioner. You don't think he's going to have to raise prices in his restaurants? Because you're paying more money to freaking, McAllen ISD. They would say, well, it's not really more, Roman or Daren. It's not more. It's the same tax rate. Yeah, but your appraisal went up. You're going to pay more.
Yeah, you're going to pay more. You make a good point there, because sometimes a tax rate decrease, like a small decrease, will still result in higher taxes because the appraisal district, bumped up your house,
right.
15%, 13%. I think they bumped mine up like 60 or 70% because I didn't have the homestead exemption one time.
Yeah.
And they took advantage.
Of course. Got to take advantage of that stuff. That's what they do. And so you have the appraisal district raising your appraisals, and then you're going to have according to McAllen ISD, you're going to have the same tax rate, but you're going to be paying more. You're going to pay more. Not just you as a property owner, but what about the people that rent? You don't think your rent is going to go up?
Right.
And then you're like, Raising Cane's just raised the price by $1. You got to have to make a decision. Am I going to go out to Raising Cane's now? Well, you know what? Instead of having you can just not buy the caniac in the box, Roman. Just buy, don't buy the caniac. Buy 2 boxes. Like, why? I want the coleslaw. Like, no, even when you hold the coleslaw, you double fries, you're going to fill up on the carbs. I guess maybe you want people to eat fatter, I guess. But no, it's the same price whether you do double fries or a coleslaw, Daren. That's why Raising Cane's kick butt. And like, you know what? I don't want the coleslaw. Just give me extra fries. I'm like, good. Anyway, but it's just more expensive stuff. And McAllen is supposed to be the best place in the valley to go eat, right? It is. Everybody goes to the mall. I don't know if people still go to the mall anymore. I mean, you just do it on computer now, I guess. Amazon or whatever. The best restaurants are McAllen. The aura of going to McAllen. I had a friend yesterday from Brownsville. She drove an hour just to go play pickleball in McAllen and then go eat in McAllen and spend money in McAllen. Well, are people going to want to leave Brownsville or Harlingen to go to McAllen knowing that they're paying more money because their taxes are going up? And then it's a self-fulfilling prophecy, because then your sales tax dollars go down because people are not spending money in McAllen as much. They're like, well, if we raise the property values of people and they're going to have to pay for that, the sales tax dollars will go up as well. That's what these politicos might be thinking, or at least the bureaucrats, people in McAllen. Well, if we raise the property tax rate, you're going to end up having to raise prices on people who shop or buy food or, at a restaurant or whatever. And then you're going to get more sales tax dollars because the price of the ticket went up. The price of the total, seat went up. So you're going to pay more. So we're going to get double our money. We're going to get a ton more money. That's not how it's going to work, because people are going to slow down wanting to go eat. I mean, how much money are you spending on groceries at HEB? I'm assuming you go to HEB, or maybe go shop at Walmart and groceries. How much have it gone up?
Man, it's gone up a lot. I think I spend usually when I go to HEB at least $300.
Right.
And when I go to Costco, don't even mention Costco. I spend $600.
But that's in far. Who cares about far? It's like, no, but it's expensive, dude. Everything's fucking expensive. Oh, sorry, I used the F word. I apologize. I don't know. It's a family show. My first nickel or whatever. I'm sorry about that. Everything's expensive. It is. Yeah. And what is that going to do to people who vote and how they vote? I think I told you earlier. There's a news story from the Texas Tribune, right? And it appeared in the McAllen Monitor about blue and how people are just depressed, and how when people are sad and depressed, they don't want to go vote. I don't buy that. Mm-hmm. You I don't buy that. You buy that? You people, when people are upset, sad, they want to go like, I can't afford to eat food. I can't afford to go even put gas in my car. I'm just so upset and sad, and I'm not going to want to go vote.
I own a trucking company, and diesel is expensive, but we're making way much more money than we ever have made in the trucking industry right now.
Yeah, that's good for you, but not good for us.
Oh, I know, but
Hey,
I'm
stop,
happy.
stop. Yeah. Oh, now I
But
know you can afford $300,
but
right?
some of that is attributed to the federal government and states clamping down on people from other countries that were truck drivers.
Oh.
Yeah, so they've been not so under the Trump administration, they passed a new law that they have a test. They'll pull you over if you're a trucker, and
Mm-hmm.
you have to be able to identify like signs and say what sign is this, and you got to say it's a U-turn sign and this and that. And if you can't do that, they'll penalize the company, and then they'll take your CDL license because in California there was a lot of foreigners that weren't even legal citizens here, and they had CDLs with they didn't even have addresses on their CDLs. I think it
But
was
how did they get a CDL? Like, don't you have to
well,
pass a test?
well they were doing it through like these knockoff agencies or whatnot.
So is the government going to go after those agencies that where they got their testing? I mean, shouldn't those agencies be punished for allowing
Yeah.
these people to pass when they shouldn't?
No, they're
probably
actually
pass?
doing that. The FMCSA, which is the Federal Motor Carriers Safety, whatever the heck acronym that is, they're actually starting to go against some of these schools. Sorry.
Right.
But yeah, it was a huge problem, and you had a lot of. For instance, I'm a freight broker. Sometimes I would hire like a certain company, let's just say Landstar Ranger, one of the biggest companies, and then I would hire them, and then some other company would come pick it up, and it was some foreigner from Ukraine that was charging like pennies on the dollar. And the crazy thing is like people like me can't compete against these foreigners because they live in their truck or they live with they don't have their own home. They don't have families. They're just here, coming from Ukraine and from a lot of other places. And it's hard for me to compete because, I have, a home, I have kids and stuff like that. They might have family abroad, but, it's a lot cheaper to maintain a family over there than it is here.
I would agree with you, but then that makes us evil people for not wanting these illegals or.
I didn't mind it because I'm a freight broker as well. So not only do I truck drive sometimes.
Are you hiring illegals? Is that what you're trying to tell me?
I'm not saying I hiring illegals. Like
Better
I said,
not.
I would hire, Landstar Ranger, one of the biggest corporations, and then I would find out at delivery because a lot of my customers live in the valley.
Right.
So what I do is every time there's going to be a delivery and it's here locally, I like to go take pictures for social media or whatnot. So when I would get there, I would notice that I hired Landstar Ranger, and then when I would go over here, the MC number and the company name on the side of the truck was totally different. And then I would talk to the drivers, and they were like, "Oh yeah," they would pull their phone out and because they couldn't talk English.
What the hell?
Yeah, so it was a big problem under Biden, and Trump came in and kind of cleaned it up, kind of like with the open borders situation.
Okay.
You
All right.
have a lot of people here right now complaining like, "Hey, the federal government is over enforcing," and I kind of agree to a certain extent on that, and I know I disagree with with kind of you on some of that, but you kind of have to attribute hey, Trump's doing this because of the repercussions with Biden leaving the floodgates open.
All right.
So how do you get a lot of these people out?
Well, I mean, you can get them off with. I guess there's a hurricane out in or tropic storm, whatever it is, in Hawaii. I don't know how to pronounce it the right way before the people in Hawaii or whatever get mad because you don't pronounce it correctly.
Right.
What they have a tropical storm, Lala.
Oh wow.
Does that sound like a name for a hurricane? Lala.
No.
La 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 la. Or is it maybe like, hi, it's a hurricane Lala. It's like, oh, it sounds nice. It's not a big deal. Like it's gonna going on hurricane, like smashing into things.
And now that we're talking about this subject, I know you had posted. No, you did. I know you had posted a post about this Texas Builders Association.
Well, I find contractors in general to be whiners.
I'll post it up here.
Oh, okay, cool. Oh, yeah, there you go. There's.
So this is what you shared from the South Texas Builders Association.
Bunch of whiners, they are. That's what I believe. That's my personal opinion. I think they're a bunch of whiners. You're like, oh, they're whining because the Trump administration is just so mean, and they're horrible people for coming into and trying to check whether or not people can work here legally. How dare you do that? There's people here that have been living here 50 years, and don't even bother getting their permit and their papers fixed or anything like that, and they're just trying to make a living for 50 years. And never bothered to do that, and you could kick them out, you're arresting them, and you're taking them, and you're just being horrible, mean people. And it's horrible. It's mean. And then you see in the news media, and every single time these little whining contractors have a freaking meeting, they're probably going and using the restroom. Oh my God, the contractor used the restroom. And free Channel 5, Channel 4, they all like got to interview them. So how did you use the restroom? How did you feel good? Feel good? Feel better? Oh, great. And to applaud them. Congratulations. I'm sick and tired of these stinking contractors getting all this attention. And they're like, oh, we're not building homes fast enough, and they're pricing prices. I'm like, well, the problem with that is that my personal opinion. Are they trying to tell us that with all these illegals they were paying them lower wages? Is that what they're telling us? Because I honestly don't know. Were they paying them below wages that they would pay an American citizen to do the job? Because that's what it feels like to me. I mean, maybe I'm completely wrong, and I don't know what I'm talking about. Because maybe I don't. I don't know what I'm talking about. I
think they're just they're trying to find someone to blame because
they're trying to blame Republicans and Trump.
Yeah, and it's inaccurate because look, like I'm reading the post. I kind of scrolled down a little bit over here.
Oh, okay.
And it says, now we are seeing the impact. Construction jobs in the Rio Grande Valley reportedly fell approximately 5% in a single quarter, the largest quarterly decline on record for our region. But I mean, is it really attributed to, we can't find illegals to come build these houses, and that's why? Because that's what they're trying to insinuate.
Right.
But let's not forget that under Biden administration, we had amounts of inflation. And what was the government solution to that? We're going to jack up the interest rate so we could suffocate the economy. So it could, so the thing is, you were, with the last interest rates that we had when they were near zero, you could get a mortgage for a house for $1,200. And now with the current interest rate, you're probably looking at like $1,800 to $2,200. So people are not buying homes. Right. They're trying to attribute it to, we can't find people
workers
because they don't want to work because ICE is going and they're picking people up at job sites, which they are doing. We've seen videos. I mean, there's no question about that. But I think it's an unfair analysis that they're doing. And then they're trying to say, hey, it's the Republicans' fault, when it's just interest rates. And interest rates is dictated by the Federal Reserve, not by any president or Congress. Right. So it's not about Democrats or Republican. It's about the Federal Reserve. And they're only going to bring it down when, they use a whole bunch of analysis and metrics to bring those rates down. They can't even listen to Trump. If Trump says, hey, bring it down to zero, they're going to tell him, F you. You have no authority over us. So.
We're stretchy. Sorry. I was my back hurts a little bit. And I'm still recovering from a bad accident.
I saw that it was a hit and run. You had posted something like that.
Yeah, I'm still like not myself. Like I haven't to be heavily drugged up to be able to do this. You're like, well, yeah. I mean, that's what happens when you have uninsured motorists in our community. And then you can't. And then you have to pay for all that, and you have to deal with insurance because it just sucks. It's horrible. Anyway, but I don't think it's fair to be blaming the Trump administration because people are being, deported. Deportation was happening during the Obama administration. We didn't see these kinds of complaints. We didn't see
I think his name was deporter in chief.
That's what he was.
Yeah.
But nobody seems to care about that. But it really does boil down to optics, right? It is everybody has a cell phone. I mean, we had the Democratic Socialist person, which I want to affectionately call a commie because that's what I like to call them because they're commies, Entian Rosas, who posted the video on his little page because he has a little following. And he ran for Congress in Texas 34. He ran for the Democratic nomination against Chente, and he got 38%, if you can believe that. The guy got 38% in a Democrat primary in Texas 34.
Rosas, or what was his name?
And Dean, I don't know. The guy even, I think he tried
I saw him at the Greg Abbott event.
And then he got kicked out because he just walked in. Yeah. I remember when he walked in too. I was like, I think that's Indian. I was like, oh dear Lord, what is he gonna do?
I had a good conversation with him while we were waiting in line for a picture with the governor.
Oh yeah, but that was before he was escorted out, right?
Yeah, that was before. So someone pointed him out.
Yeah. Well, the thing is I'm not gonna say it was me. I'm not gonna say it was me, because I don't think it was me. I don't think it was me. I don't think I did anything. I'm pretty sure I didn't do anything. Maybe, I don't know. I can barely remember what I did yesterday. I have a head injury. Okay, I had a head injury because of a car accident. Okay, so I don't remember everything. No. So, so Antin Rosas, he posted a video of something that happened on his property like this week, and he was trying to stop because I guess it was ICE or federal agents that went onto his property. And he's like, "What are you doing? Leave him alone." He's like, "Don't get on my property." He's like, "Hey, you have to have a warrant. You have this," and it's like, okay, I don't know if I maybe we have to explain this to communists out there, but the federal government, law enforcement, and I know you and I may disagree on this. I don't know, because I'm a little bit
to a certain extent, I guess.
Okay. So they were chasing a guy. That's what it appears like. They were chasing a guy, and the guy happened to go onto what appears like Antin Rosas' property. And so they're going after this guy. Maybe I'm not a constitutional law expert. I'm not by any stretch.
I mean, if they were chasing the guy, they do have authority to go in.
Yes, thank you. I'm glad you agree. I'm glad.
Yeah,
I want to make sure because okay.
Where I disagree is like, okay, there's a construction site or there's a business, and there's people with these green shirts because they're actually working or they're doing lawns, and then they come onto the property without probable cause or without anything, and just because they're like racial profiling sometimes. And they say, "Hey, are you a citizen?" and blah blah blah. That's where I'm like, okay, like there's a
okay. So let's go there. Do you believe that the federal government has an obligation to check employment status of people at an employment location, like a public location where people are working? They don't have a right to be able to go on there? Do they, or do you not believe that?
Well, I mean, I know there's a lot of people putting like no trespassing signs now and gates.
Which doesn't mean anything. It doesn't mean anything to the federal government.
But the way I see it is I kind of see it as harassment. But, you do make a good point. Like,
okay. You find it harassment. So what about a city, let's say in the city of McAllen, you have a restaurant, you're feeding people. People are coming to your establishment. Do you believe the city of McAllen has an obligation or authority to be able to go onto that property to make sure that their public health standards are up to par? Without a warrant, they're just
I think they do have the authority when it comes to something like that, because it's more of a public.
So how is that different?
It's more like open to the public. Like a job site, you can't just go into a job site like it's dangerous, and especially if you don't have like steel toe boots or hard hats.
So what about OSHA? Does OSHA have the authority to be able to go onto a property and make sure that the standards that the people are working at are up to a certain part? They can't go onto your property for that. Even it's a public location. It's a public location.
Right. Yeah.
So
I've seen where OSHA does come in. So yeah.
I think that's the problem. Is I think it's optics. I think I think ICE has an obligation to be able to go into a job site or construction site to verify that the person there is able to work. It's not necessarily racial profiling to go in there and say, can you work? Like, are you here to check your papers? I mean, whether it's a restaurant or whatever. I mean, we had I've seen audio, video of even certain Republicans. I'm not going to mention their name because I'm a Republican, support all Republicans. I love Republicans. That's me. But he admitted, hey, ICE came over to our property or whatever, and they were looking into. It turns out that some people are using, his words, not mine, were using documentation that wasn't up to par, and we found out that they didn't have the authority to work in this country. And so he was pushing for E-Verified, like, hey, it's not complicated, do that kind of stuff. But even he found out that these people were not able to work. But this was years ago. I think even now, we need to be able to have some sort of system like that. Right. Maybe not necessarily E-Verify, because I'm not a huge fan of my personal information having to go, there's phone ring, going out there and giving the federal government all that kind of information. I don't want that digital footprint or digital, hey, that's my number, tattooed on my skin or underneath my skin. Oh, I'm here. I'm good here. I don't want the mark of the beast or whatever people call that. But
I actually saw that a lady got pulled over by a federal immigration or ICE agent because a flock camera scanned the driver's license, and
Oh.
it was registered to an illegal alien. But obviously the illegal alien was a man and this was a woman. So it's just one of those slippery slope things where, is that probable cause to pull someone over, and stuff like that.
Yeah, I mean, we can definitely learn about flock cameras in future shows because I am very much against them. I think any time, not even specifically flock, okay, but it's just the generic term people use because there are other companies that have this kind of system. That are around our country. So I don't want people. I don't want you to get like a cease and desist letter from freaking Flock. How dare you say these negative things? Like, okay, I'm just generically saying Flock. It's just like us here in South Texas and Valley. I want a Coke, and it's like, oh, okay. So they're gonna write down Coke and no, I want Dr. Pepper. Porque no dice Dr. Pepper because I said I wanted a Coke. And like, but that's not a Dr. Pepper. And so it's our way of saying Coke. And some places they say pop. Some people say soda. So for me, I'm going to say flock, even though I'm not necessarily talking about flock specifically.
It's just easier for me to say flock, I guess.
No, but I'm just trying to explain it so that you don't get sued, okay? Because they like to sue people. Well, I'm not saying they enjoy it, but there have been people that say things about flock and then they get a little letter in the mail.
Right.
And so, yeah. Okay, so you're testing out like and subscribe thing, so you can take out the comment. Take out the comment that's on there, and then you'll be able to see that little overlay that you're doing.
Okay, let me start.
So take out the comment. You see, nobody's commenting, so I'm getting kind of nervous that it's not actually streaming live anywhere right now.
It probably isn't because Jimmy just called me and, he probably is not. He hasn't realized that I'm alive. So
yeah, I don't think it's streaming anywhere, dude. I think there was a mess up somehow when you set up to do it in the beginning.
But I did see that there was 3 viewers when I got on my Facebook on my phone.
Really? Because I'm not seeing it on my Facebook at all.
Right now it says 0 viewers up here.
Yeah.
But on my phone, I think, like on my phone, it says I'm live.
It doesn't even say that on mine. Like I'm
like
there and
it says I'm live, and then I could see myself. Look,
dude, there it is. Like, why can you see it but I can't see it? And like I'm on. Like, I never got the notification. Even the comment, like when you commented, it didn't show up here. And it should have showed up. You see how it says new comment will appear here in the little box? That test comment should have appeared.
Oh, I think I see what happened.
What happened?
It says only I could see it for some reason. Like it's locked.
Why do you have it locked?
I didn't lock it. Hold on. Let me figure it out. Let me go on my Facebook real quick. Good thing it's recording, but let me see if I can unlock this real quick because we're having a good discussion here.
But I wonder why it's locked on your page or something. I don't want it to do it in the future. That's going to be locked like that. And I don't know. You said you were streaming in other places, right? Not just that place.
On X.
You might have had viewers on X, maybe.
Yeah, I don't know. I guess I'm just gonna have to reshare it after.
Well, are you able to go onto it on Facebook within and make the edit it or something, like do the little 3 bars? If you want me to, you can share the screen and we can see it together if you want to, but you don't have to. Yeah, because I never saw it, so.
Yeah, that makes sense now. I didn't notice the.
Yeah, because if you were streaming it onto Twitter, you would have had 3 viewers maybe there, but nowhere else.
Mm-hmm.
And you probably did have 1 viewer on Facebook. It was probably you. You had 1 viewer.
Right. Damn, that's a bummer.
I know. If you want to, you can do it again. Start all over again. I don't mind. Just kidding. Because really, it's just I want you to be able to do a test thing so you can be able to practice with it and learn how to do it. Huh? All right.
Yeah, I'll mess with it later.
Okay, cool. All right.
We'll do like a test one. So, flock camera.
Flock cameras. Oh, yeah. Okay, so we were talking about, ICE and what causes. Okay, so we were talking earlier about the depression. People are depressed. They don't want to go vote, right? And so the point of the story is may not want to go vote, but I don't feel that. Like, I feel people are angry about their life situation. And so you're seeing that in the polling. I think you and I talked about the Bobby Pulido versus Monica de la Cruz poll, and how they're doing polling, and they're saying, oh, they believe this is going to happen, that, Bobby's beating her by 6 points. But there's also when you do a poll, it is the perception of the analyst or the pollster as to they're going to predict what turnout is going to be, to figure out how many Democrats, how many independents, how many Republicans. They're going to, weight a poll to come up with an assumption. So they are assuming that so many Democrats, or we're going to have a blue wave. But how is it that you're going to have, again, this is a Texas Tribune story, and again, it appeared in the McAllen Monitor, it appeared in the Brownsville Herald, and in the Valley Morning Star.
Right.
And you read that story, people are depressed. So are people depressed and they're not going to come out to vote? Therefore, the polling that Democrats are talking about, that we're going to have this blue freaking wave, is that really going to happen if these people are depressed? Or is that story that the Texas Tribune had, written by Bernice Garcia, a bunch of BS? Bunch of crock? It's not real. It's made up BS. So we're not really going to find out. We're not going to find out until election day. We're not going to see that until, maybe we'll start seeing it when people go out to vote early, and we'll start, okay, who's coming out to vote? What kind of voters coming out to vote? Doing some sort of exit polling. But who's going to be right? Who is it? And to me, I believe, this is my personal opinion, I believe that story of, people are depressed. They don't want to go vote. They just like I can't pay for my bills. I can't pay for my gas. I can't pay for my food. My job, it's horrible. Like, I don't want to go to work. I don't want to wake up in the morning, and I'm just not going to go vote.
Do you think Dan Patrick's going to lose people with this THC marijuana thingy?
Yeah, I think so. I think that's actually hurting him.
I think that was stupid to do it like right before the general election. Like, we're 80 days or 79 days away.
The guy. I'm not a Dan Patrick fan. I mean, I'm voting for him, but I'm not a fan of some of the stuff that he does, because, like, this THD thing, there's a lot of veterans with PTSD that use this stuff.
Yeah.
And it's helpful and it's less addictive than some of the stuff in Big Pharma. And to the idea that Dan Patrick is stopped because of his belief system, that I don't think is a majority of Republicans, is determining whether or not veterans can have this kind of assistance and help. And I don't like it. I can't believe a Republican is doing the bidding of Big Pharma. The Big Pharma, the same people that push the jab. It's just like, we're making the same kind of mistakes. That
I've heard people make the argument that he was doing this to kind of help, the alcohol companies.
Well, yeah, I could believe that. Yeah, because people, why drink alcohol when you can just have, a CBD thing? Yeah. Which I would rather have than alcohol. I don't drink. I mean, I'm not saying that, I go on, I was using a CBD. I didn't use it. I don't use any of that stuff. But maybe I will now with my back injury. Maybe I might need that, but I can't. So I'm going to have to be, addicted to Oxycontin, and it's going to ruin my hearing like it did my hero, Rush Limbaugh.
Yeah, and I think that's one of the achievements of Ken Paxton as Attorney General. I think he went after the synthetic opioid companies, the Sackler family, and them people. Purdue, I think, is the pharmacy. Yeah.
Well, I mean, we're not always going to agree with our elected officials because they represent different, ideas.
No, I think it was good. I think it was good to go after them. Yeah. I thought it was good to go after them because I think that's what started this whole fentanyl epidemic that we're seeing now. We had a lot of doctors overprescribe this stuff, and you have these synthetic opioid, pharmaceutical companies incentivizing doctors and whatnot to overprescribe these things. And then when they, people get addicted, you're supposed to just, instead of giving them like no more prescriptions, you're supposed to slowly reduce the reliance. And I think it pushed a lot of people to like do things like fentanyl, and heroin, and other things. But I mean, I'm not an expert on it. It's just, I read a lot. So
right, you got to read a lot. You got to learn stuff. So so when I was talking about the Bobby Pulido and the Monica thing, this Texas 15 is a Trump 18 seat, meaning President Trump won that seat by 17.8 percentage points, which would have been 18%, right? And these polls that have been coming out is the Bobby Pulido poll, which would have been the House Majority PAC poll. They did a poll, and it showed him up by 6 points, meaning that she's blown a not just 18-point lead, now it's 24-point. Like, it's went from like, hey, Trump kicking butt, now she over here kicking, that's a huge, huge difference. And, but obviously the Democrats are really excited. They think, oh, like, we're going to win this thing. And Republicans are very depressed because even in their own internal polling, and not I don't have rats telling me these things. It was in the news, right? Where I think Punch Bowl had it. And
here, let me put it up because this is from your page.
Oh, yeah. So that's a House Majority PAC, right? It shows Biden over 3% with 51%. Monica with 45%. There's incumbent. I don't think there's any third-party candidates, so I guess there's 6% undecided. Or no, not 6%. What? 4% undecided. So even now, there's no way Monica can win based off of this poll because he's already 51%. It's over, done, right? But a month ago, previously, there was a poll done, internal poll. Monica even said it. There's audio of it that Punch Bowl News released, and it said, she's like, well, our internal polling says that we're only up by 1. And I said, is that bad? And they're like, yeah, I didn't know that was bad. How the hell did you not know that was bad?
Right.
Like, how stupid are you, Monica, that you didn't know that was bad? Yes, it's very bad. If you're only up by 1 in your own internal polling, you're within the margin of freaking error, which means you might actually be losing in that poll. Trump won by 18 points. Cruz won it by 8 or 9 points. So yes, Monica, it's bad. It's very bad. And then on top of that, you have another poll that came out that showed Bobby up by 2, 48-46. I think there was a welcome pack, whatever the hell that pack is. I have no idea who they are. But Bobby posted about it. So there have been, very much concerning about that. And why does it matter? Why does it matter that Monica is in a tight race? I mean, I still expect her to win. I still expect her to win because she's a Republican in 18 seat. But if she loses, and people think she might lose, more money from D.C. is going to pump into her race. And what's going to happen? It's going to screw people like Eric Flores and Donald Tijerina. Right. It's going to screw them because they're not going to be able to get the funding necessary to be able to win and compete against entrenched Democrat incumbents because the number one job that the D.C. swamp people, Republicans, want to do is save an incumbent. Right. And it's a real big problem. And a lot of this is
I didn't believe the poll. When I saw it, I thought it was like one of those misleading polls. Like Mexico does that a lot where, they'll do stuff like that for fundraising reasons. Like they'll show Monica down so that she could get more money, which kind of makes sense for what you're saying, because now you're saying it'll take money from like Eric and from other Donald Tijerina,
and other incumbents too. I mean, look what's happening with Ken Paxton. I mean, because he's not necessarily the best candidate to have for a general election. He really isn't, and he's sucking up a whole bunch of money to be able to save that red seat instead of us maybe spending some of that money in Georgia to maybe beat that commie Democrat in that race. So we can, because Georgia's supposedly a Southern Republican state, but yet they have 2 Democrat U.S. senators. Like what? I mean, but no, we can't. So they're spending buttloads of money in Texas to be able to save it. It's a very expensive primary. I mean, a general election.
Yeah. And in Mexico, they also, what they do is they'll make it seem like, Monica or Bobby Pulido is going to win by like 80% to discourage people from actually going and vote. So the argument they'll make there is, my vote's not going to count. Bobby's going to win. So, but that's just like Mexico style of politics. But I'm sure some of that is used here as well. Like,
Yeah, I could see that because you want the press turnout. So sometimes you want to make that. That's why it was very disconcerting in 2018 when you had Robert Francis O'Rourke, that people like to call Beto. I don't like calling him that. Running against Ted Cruz, because Ted and his campaign stupidly didn't put up signs like signs don't vote, signs don't matter. And they're right, they don't matter. But Beto had chingonones and signs everywhere, and you gave him hope. I'm going to use that little line from Robin Williams and his little thing when, I'm going to make golf and I'm going to put a flag just to give you hope. And you can hit the ball in a little tiny little hole. That's what we did. That's what the Republicans did. That's what the Ted Cruz campaign did. They gave Democrats hope.
Right.
And even though he won, and yay, Ted, you won by 3 points, congratulations, it destroyed down ballot Republican candidates where we should have won. And I'm going to point specifically to Harris County. Harris County had a really good Republican county judge. Maybe not a Republican you and I would like, but it was Republican nonetheless. It definitely wasn't a freaking communist. Definitely wasn't Alina Hidalgo. And some no-name, nobody even know the hell she was, Dora the Explorer, Alina Hidalgo, becomes the county judge in Harris County in a blue freaking wave that happened. And it never should have happened because people are like, gotta go vote for Beto, gotta vote for Beto. Oh, the black sign, Beto, ooh, there's signs everywhere. Ooh. And Cruz is like, he's from freaking Houston and got his ass beat.
Right.
And so we gave them hope. It destroyed people down ballot. Well, that's what potentially could happen here. We have given Democrats hope to potentially beat Monica de la Cruz.
Right.
We've given them hope by saying Biden might win, so people that Republicans might not want to come out to vote. And some of these Democrats hate Trump. And you know what? I want to vote. Hey, I vote for Bobby Pulido. Like, I want to vote for that guy. Like, I like the guy. He played me in Sierra, whatever the hell. And what this is going to do is going to hurt people in Hidalgo County. It's going to hurt candidates that you have in Hidalgo County that might win. I'm not going to say they're ever going to win right now. Not this cycle. Not going to happen. Sorry. Yeah. I love you all in Hidalgo County, and, you all may not like me, but I love you all. I really do. But y'all aren't going to win any races. It's going to be worse. But you know what that does with that kind of with Bobby potentially winning, Daren? Mm-hmm. It could hurt people like Clarissa Silva, who's in 13 Court of Appeals, because a lot of those counties that are in by Pulido in T615 are hers. It might hurt somebody like La Esposa de Adam Hinojosa, state senator. What's her name? Vivian? Might hurt her. Victoria? Yeah, I was going to call her Vivian. I have no idea. Victoria? I mean, that... We have to remember, guys, in 2022, LJ Francis, a black guy, I'm just going to say that, this black guy, LJ Francis, he barely beat a Hispanic Democrat by, 1,000 votes in a minor red wave? Yeah. How are we going to win that? Again, if you have people really, really excited about Bobby, we gave them hope, even though Bobby will probably lose, they may win these races. They may do that because... in Cameron County, they may want to I can't vote for Bobby. I thought I could vote for Bobby. Oh, I can't. I just vote Democrat. Right. They come out to vote. Because people are not the smartest people in the world. I was talking to an elected official, that's a Democrat who lost. Now I'm kind of giving more details away. You can kind of figure out who it was. And they lost, and they were telling me he or she was telling me that they were at a doctor's office and they said, voy a votar por ti in November. And the guy was like, señora, I'm not going to be in November. I'm not going to be there. ¿Por qué no? Es el runoff. Voy a votar por ti. No. And it's like, no, the runoff was in May. Ya perdí. No, she was devastated. She was heartbroken. And then the same person told me another story. And the person's like, we're going to vote for you in November because you won in March. No, I was in first place, but I lost in the runoff.
Well, that's what happened with Sergio Sanchez down here.
They didn't know. And they don't know these things. And so a lot of voters, and I'm not saying voters are dumb. I'm not implying voters are stupid, the dumbest people in the world. I'm not implying that at all. But son pendejos. Sorry, I'm just kidding. Am I not allowed to say that on your show?
Yeah, I don't care.
Okay, all right. Well, I'm just saying. I'm just kidding. They're not. They're good people. Everybody's smart. Everybody knows what they're doing.
That happened to us too because I was helping Sergio Sanchez. He was running for State House 41. And I'll tell you what, during the runoff, when we were block walking and phone banking,
Right.
like 99% of people were saying, yeah, we're for you. We voted for you. We're going to come out again and vote for you. But they would say on the phone in November, we're like, no, we're in a runoff. We got first place. We got 46% of the vote. But in Texas, you need 50 plus 1, 50%. And we would try to explain it to some people, but you're calling people and they're at the barbecue or they're outside or, they're driving. So I don't think they pay attention much, like you're saying. I'm not going to talk negatively of people. It is what it is.
I'm not talking negatively either. I'm just saying that they're not you and me, right?
Yeah.
They're not invested people into this stuff. They don't they just like, hey, what about that? I want to vote. They may vote, they may not. And it's like herding cats. It's very difficult. And that's why, and so I was trying to point out to you, buddy, it's like, in Cameron County or in Williamson County, they may not know that they can't vote for Bobby. I mean, look, we have people in the primaries who think, I went to go vote for you. Let's say Sergio. I went to go vote for you, Sergio, but you weren't on my ballot. Like, well, I mean, but and this is my address, and I should have been able to vote for you, and you weren't on my ballot. And you know why I wasn't on your ballot? Because they voted for the Democrats. And they didn't know. They don't know that there's a difference between the Democrat primary and the Republican. No saben.
Yeah.
So they don't understand that. They don't our people don't get it because everyone just assumes we're all Democrats. We're all going to be on the ballot. They don't understand the primary process. And even when you try to explain it to them, they don't understand. I mean, it's so different than when you were in high school or in middle school. I'm going to assume you were a little bit smart, maybe a little bit smart. I know I was. I was freaking.
I wasn't smart. I wasn't smart in school. I'll be honest.
Okay, well, I was a nerd, right? But in your class, like there were the smart guy, the smart people, the middle people, idiots. Well, guess what? They all vote. They all might vote. And so it's like you can explain them the quadratic equation every single day of the week for the entire year, and some people they don't get it. No prende el foco. They doesn't turn on. And that's what happens when you try to explain to people the primary process. Because a lot of people don't care about politics. They don't want to pay attention. They want to live their life. They don't care to understand it. And even when you try to explain it, you call them, yes, déjame en paz. Like, I don't care. Like, or you go to a door when you're not going to, they'll tell you, I'm voting for Myra. Like, that happened to us, all right? Because I didn't vote block, but I was helping Myra, obviously. I think everyone knows that. And people told them at the door, I'm voting for Myra. I'm voting for Myra.
I remember you were...
They were like, they're going to vote. They're going to vote for Myra. They didn't vote for Myra because they either lied to them and said they were voting for Myra because you don't want to lie to a voter. I mean, you're a block walker person. You don't want to lie to a little kid who's knocking on your door like, please vote for Myra. Oh, yes, of course I'm going to vote for Myra. I'm going to do it. And then they don't go vote for Myra. Or they're like, oh, yeah, I'm going to vote for Myra. And they close the door and then you can see them. They don't know that you're paying attention. They throw it in their trash can. They don't care. So it's hard. Voting is hard. Getting people to go out and vote is hard, and explaining it to them is hard because some people care and some people don't, and the ones that don't get to vote just like the ones that do care.
Right.
Sucks. Yeah. Sucks to be us.
And then you had this other post here. Let me see.
Oh, yeah.
The statement from Monica's endorsement for Ken Paxton.
Oh, yeah. What do you think about that?
I mean, she's in the federal position. So, I mean, I guess it's good to see them supporting each other. But I'll tell you what, last week we went block walking with some down ballot Republicans and we were hitting Democrat doors.
All right.
And these are people that are running, like, it should be nonpartisan races, but obviously it's partisan. And we were we hit one door of a lady, and she had a Bobby Pulido sign, and then she had a Harris Waltz sign on her yard. And
wow.
I'm wearing an Abbott shirt, and I'm wearing the Make Agriculture Great Again cap. So I stayed by the mailbox, turned around so I wouldn't, cock block them on a potential vote. And when they knocked, it was two candidates because I went block walking with two candidates. I'm not gonna say their names, but
you can just go to your page. Can you post a picture of it? So
they could go on my page and see. But anyways, they they knocked and they were out there. It was one candidate first, and she was there for like talking to them for like 5 minutes.
And that's too long, but okay.
And then the other candidate was like, all right, maybe I should go. So, she went, and they had a good conversation. And the lady said, hey, you know what? On the national level, I'm a Democrat, but on local issues, and just because you came to my door, I'll vote for you. So, so it's just.
I don't buy that.
I don't buy it either.
I don't buy that. Again, it's just like, hey, you came to my door, I'm gonna vote for you. Like, I've run for office, okay? Unlike some people, I've run for office, and I think anybody who's politically active like you, Daren, have to run at least one time. You got to do it. It's just fun. It's a lot of fun. I love block walking. But I knocked on so many damn doors, and I can't tell you how hundreds and hundreds of people told me they were going to vote for me.
Right.
And I didn't get it. I got like 500 and some votes, I think it was, because it was a small election. But I didn't win.
Right.
I lost 55-45, even though my polling said I was going to win 55-45, but I lost somehow. I guess we were doing polling, and I was like, yeah, I'm going to win this thing. Like, I literally thought I was going to win, and I lost. Because he was telling me, what the team? They don't. And whether it's because politiqueros or politiqueras, like, take them to go vote, and they trick them, and vote that way. Hell, I took a guy who told me he was going to vote for me. Okay, I don't think I've ever told this story before. To a guy, because he wanted me. Well, he was gonna vote for me, and he wanted to vote for me, and he liked me, and everything like that. And so I took him in the car, and I took him myself. I didn't have my shirt on, anything like that. I did. And I didn't. I drove him to go vote, and they
gave him a chicken plate, and he voted for someone.
No. I actually took him to curbside voting. I got out of the car. I didn't want to be in the car at all because I don't want people thinking, Roman is going to be an influence election. I didn't have I'm really anal retentive about that stuff because I don't want anybody thinking that I'm persuading somebody to vote. Pues el vato didn't even vote for me. He voted for my opponent.
Oh, wow.
And you know what it turned out? He doesn't know how to read. I didn't know he didn't know how to read. And luego me dijo, es que no puedo leer. And I'm like, ¿en serio? Like, and the thing is, he didn't know that he could have asked for help. Like, he didn't know, like, he could have asked for help from la señora, the judge. He wanted to do it himself. But he didn't want to really vote for my opponent. So
did he tell you, or?
No. The only reason I knew it was because at that time I had good eyesight. And there were only like 2 people on the race, it was like a small freaking ballot. So when she put it in there, the lady's eyes looked like, because she knew who I was, because she could see it, and it's like, and then she's like, she did this, and I'm like, what the? And I knew where I was on the ballot, and my name was not bubbled in. My opponent was bubbled. I took a post to go vote. So and I was like, why didn't you tell me? Like, if you didn't, why didn't you tell the lady you know how to read? Like, that, it's because he was Hispanic, nomás habla español, and he didn't know he could ask for a Spanish ballot. I'm like, okay, that makes sense.
That's crazy.
So, some people will tell you they're going to vote for you, and they don't vote for you.
Hey, even when you give them a ride to the poll.
Even when you give them a ride, they don't vote for you.
That was an awkward ride back to drop them off.
It was, but you know what? Look, it's about voting regardless to me. At the end of the day, I didn't get mad at the guy. I was like, whatever. Like, I was like, okay, Ryan, you voted against me. But I was more concerned that he didn't feel comfortable to tell somebody else that didn't know how to vote. Like, I'd like not how to ask for help. Mm-hmm. And this is a person who votes all the time, and I can only imagine. I mean, these are just my, again, personal opinions. Maybe I'm out of whack. I'm out of line for thinking this. But is it possible that we have people that work elections that notice that people don't know how to read, and they'll be like, you can vote for Donald Trump or Joe Biden? Oh, pues voy a votar por Donald Trump, and that a voice inflection, or maybe I shouldn't use that example. Maybe what Donald Trump or Joe Biden, like vote for that person. Is it possible some of those people do that kind of sort of thing to people that they know can't read or don't understand? Influence things. Maybe it happens every once in a while. What the hell? It almost like somebody it almost like you threw something at me, like you were mad. It did. Oh, well, he or she is gonna scratch up your camera. It's ruined now. Like the entire time, you're gonna see a scratch.
I'm trying to get him to fly away. Hold on. Fly away, but he keeps flying back.
Of course, it's like fetch.
Okay, let me put him back in his. Hold on, 1 second.
No, you want to? It's fine. Well, it's already been an hour 14 minutes. Tengo hambre. I gotta go eat. I'm hungry. I told you I was gonna go eat, and I might have to go to a doctor because my back is killing me.
Sorry. Yeah, because he kept biting me and scratching me and stuff. So
he wants your attention.
Yeah, he wants my attention. And I know.
It's okay, don't worry. But anyway, we've been playing like this since like noon.
I mean, they want to spend what, 60 million on parks.
Oh, okay,
I think they were going to spend like close to 50 or over on the Quinta Mazatlan, the World Birding Center, and that was 2024.
Cool.
So I don't know. It's just.
Do people go to that thing?
I mean, I used to go there for like events, like weddings and stuff, but kind of like the attraction of that place was that, it was, 16th century Spanish colonial type home and people like a event center. And now you're putting like all this new $56 million, stuff next to it. And it's kind of like taking the appeal away in my eyes.
Ah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
So, what do you look? The city of McAllen makeup of the commission is predominantly Democrat. I think you have one nominal Republican with Javi as the mayor.
Yeah.
Do you think they're going to end up voting for a tax rate increase?
I think so. And I think when I went to that workshop, the mayor Javier Villalobos pretty much hinted like we're going to have a conversation. With the people about what the needs of the city are, and kind of hinting that he was supporting the.
And we all know that he's going to run for state senate. I think everyone knows that. I mean, it's not a secret. I think everybody in the Republican Party knows he wants to run for state senate. Do you think that these kinds of things that he does is going to portend him being able to run for state senate and winning in the Republican primary?
I don't think so. I mean, it might affect him with the Republican Party, depending on who runs.
Mm-hmm.
But he's very cool with Democrats. Like he just recently appointed Eric Olguin to some park board of whatever, something like that.
Got to give the commies an opportunity, right, to be in.
Yeah, but I mean, there's a lot of Republicans he could have picked, and. I mean, if he was Republican, but the way I see it is I think he's building a bridge, which is nothing. I mean, there's nothing wrong with it, but he's building a bridge with people.
But how's that going to help him in the Republican primary?
Well, I don't think it'll help him. I think it could help him if he convinces Democrats to vote in Republican primaries.
Do you really think that? And that doesn't happen. That does not. Like, how is it possible how can we explain it to these politicos in our party to understand that Democrats are not going to want to come vote in our primary? I mean, yeah, we have people that vote in our primary. Yes, we are growing. We have more and more people coming. But to have the amount of Democrats these people want in our primary is not going to happen because they care about all these other local races. They care about their JP, their county commissioner, their county judge. They care about who's going to be their nominee for president. I mean, that's why the Democrats have a larger primary, and that's why they have so many people voting. It's not going to happen. So if Javi is doing these things of like, I'm going to be nice to these Democrats, because does he assume he's going to have the Senate nomination in the bag? Because if I'm you all, I mean, I love Javi. Don't get me wrong. He was our county chair for 4 years. I have a great relationship with Javi. I don't have a problem with him in any way, shape, or form. And I don't think you do either.
No, neither do I.
But we are not, we Republicans in Valley are not going to determine who the Republican nominee is. It's going to be determined north because there are more Republican primary voters, even though we have a higher population in Hidalgo County or in Cameron County and some of these counties up north, they have a higher percentage of Republicans voting in Republican primaries. So how is he going to, with his record of attacking the Trump administration, with his record of criticizing immigration constantly, with his record of raising taxes, of his record of I'm going to raise, I support raising taxes for school districts like crazy. With that kind of a record, how is he going to be able to win a Republican primary?
I think
If somebody more conservative runs.
I don't know. Like a lot of people like him on the Republican side. They say nothing but good things about him. There's only a few that don't. I'm not gonna say no names, but out of like maybe 90 Hidalgo County Republicans, probably like 10 kind of are wary about him.
Mm-hmm.
So, but when it comes to voters, I don't think like you said earlier, I don't think a lot of these voters really remember or really understand some of the stuff that he has said. So I think they're just going to go off of name ID. Javier Villalobos, he's a mayor. He's always, with the state senators. He's always because he takes pictures with everybody. He takes pictures. He just did one with Henry Cuellar. He's with a lot of people. So, and then what happens is Henry Cuellar would post it and all his people see him. So he has a crazy amount of name ID just by being the mayor of McAllen and taking pictures with everybody. So I think that's what's going to determine probably who wins and probably funding, signs and ads, stuff like that.
Yeah, maybe.
But I mean, who knows? I mean,
I think it's going to be determined by people in Nueces County, in Jim Wells County, in Brooks County. I think it goes up.
That's the same way it was with like Monica's seat, CD15. The primaries are always in the north as well, determined up there.
But if somebody's smart and can use this against him, and I perceive they will. I mean, it's just I like to analyze stuff. I like to make my comments. I'm not saying that Javi is not going to win, but if somebody decent comes around, like. Who knows? Maybe somebody like Sergio Sanchez, not the radio guy, but your Sergio Sanchez decides to run for state senate for whatever reason. He has high name ID, a little bit. He's run for office. He didn't win, but he has his own money. That money won't be a problem. But to have it like a negative campaign, or what if other people, another person decides to run, or maybe the lieutenant governor decides, you know what, I want something from Nueces County to run over there and win. And I know there's some Republicans down here that. Or they think they're influential and they'll be able to stop this sort of thing from happening. But ultimately, it's going to be decided by Austin, whoever they want.
And you don't think maybe Fred Hinojosa will throw his hat in the ring?
Maybe. I mean, look at he lives in SD20. He's run for Congress. He's done a good job of supporting his brother.
I see him at all I saw him at the Lincoln Reagan dinner here in McAllen, and I see him out there. So I think they might have their sights on it.
Yeah, so I mean, and the thing is, that would be bad for the Valley to have somebody from Corpus be the nominee, but it's very possible to happen. At the end of the day, we Republicans in the Valley, even Republicans in general, like to think that we determine who the nominee is going to be. But in a lot of ways, it isn't. I mean, I'll point to in 2022. I was helping Janie Lopez in her race, and we tried to tell the guy that decided to run in that race that you're not going to win. We tried to tell him, like, you know what, dude, she's going to have the money she needs to be able to beat you in a primary. And she is the Austin pick. The people in Austin like her. Whether she was great or not, it doesn't really matter. She was the pick. And the guy that she ran against was a mayor of a small town, elected official, just like she was. A male, had the support of sort of grassroots Republicans that in that area that a lot of Republicans vote with a precinct he is. I think it's like the second most populous Republican primary precinct. Like he had it. And he got his ass beat 70-30. And why? Because Austin decided who they wanted and they funded her. Mm-hmm. So that same thing could happen in this particular race. And you might think, well, Javi has the relationship he has with George, with George. Sorry, I don't know why I say George. Because that's the name of the guy that Jamie ran. That's why I say George. With Governor Abbott, but Governor Abbott is not going to be able to dictate who's going to be the state senator from SC20 or the nominee. It's going to be dictated by one person only. The Lieutenant Governor Dan Patrick, Lieutenant Dan. That's who's going to determine it. Nobody else. And so it is what it is. And so I don't know if Lieutenant Dan is going to want somebody who says the things that that the mayor does and says. That might be a problem. That might be a problem for him. And there is a little bit of a, we're all kumbaya now. We're all uniting. The governor, the lieutenant governor, we're all loving, all great. We're all a big old team. But once the general election's over and they all win, they all go in their little corners and they come out to fight. They all
Are you surprised? Because I know there was rumors that, at the state level, we're going to get a lot of funding down here to, turn some of these districts red.
Yeah, I'm very surprised by it. I'm really disappointed in the promises that were made by people in Austin to people here in the Valley. Mm-hmm. And I'm not going to mention names because nobody wants to mention the names of these people that made all these promises. Nobody wants to do it. You know what? And I'm not going to be the person to do it because the people that are making the big compliment and the concerns, and I know it's happening in the Mars chat. I know it's happening there. Nobody wants to say names. We all know who they are. We all know who the people were. In fact, I wouldn't be surprised if one or two of those people are in the chat that were told. But yeah, there were a lot of promises that were made last year when we were trying to recruit candidates. You were like, we're going to have 25 million, Roman.
And do you think
give it to winners down in the Valley?
Do you think that was contingent on maybe who won the primary? Like, you think,
no.
Or
no.
They just stiffed the region, I guess.
No. I don't think that's what it was. And I know that hopefully there'll be some of these little Mars people that'll be watching this. Maybe I'll explain a little something to you so you can understand from my perspective. I know you all may not like me. I know some of those people they have me blocked or whatever.
And you know what? And I see the back and forth. I see you post stuff and about some of our members and stuff. But I'll be honest with you, I like to have some type of friendship with people. People like yourself, because obviously a lot of stuff. I'm gonna actually have dinner with a guy. His name's Alex Martinez. He's a young Dem. We're gonna go to dinner tonight, and we're gonna talk about little, stuff. He's kind of like
you're gonna be a rat for him, then I guess.
Well, that's what people are gonna think, but
yeah.
But and I've gotten a few Democrats send me friend requests and stuff. And I immediately I'll accept it, and then I'll tell them, hey man, just so you know, I'm Republican, but I criticize my own people too. On the Republican side, candidates when they do something wrong, and I tell them for instance with Trump, I was all in for President Trump 2015, 2016, but I voted for him again. I voted for him 3 times. But that doesn't mean I'm not going to say, hey, I don't like what he's doing here. I don't like what he's doing here. I'm not going to blindly just support him 100%. Do I think he was better than Hillary Clinton? Absolutely. Do I think he was better than Biden? Absolutely. Do I think he was better than Kamala Harris? Absolutely. And I don't regret my vote. But when I see things he was very against these interventions and foreign wars. And when I see, for instance, the new president of Syria, he's a ISIS terrorist, go to the White House and shake hands with him at the Oval Office, things like that do piss me off.
Yeah. Well, diplomacy, you have to be diplomatic to everybody, and regardless of what you think of them. I have no doubt in my mind that the people of European leadership hate Trump, can't stand him, laugh about him, think he's a crazy person or whatever, but they are taking a picture of him. I'll be nice to him, and they get crap back home. So it's I'm not equating President Trump to an ISIS terrorist of Syria, but I'm not equating that at all. Okay, I don't want to be like, you think he's a terrorist, Robin? No, I don't think that at all. I'm just saying that.
Well, he was recognized. He had I think they had a reward against that guy for $10 million at one point.
Ooh, dang!
And then all of a sudden he topples the Assad regime, which is crazy because you got ISIS, and they're always attacking within their own Syrian president, but you don't see them saying, hey, we're terrorists and we're ISIS, let's go destroy Israel, So it's just funny to see. But I won't get into that topic.
Okay, all right. We'll talk about that another day. No, okay. So you were asking about the millions and millions and millions of dollars that were promised. Well, I know there are people Governor Abbott. Governor Abbott.
How many millions did you hear?
I heard 20.
Okay.
And I know that other people heard 25.
Yeah.
And some people heard it. It was just like it was only 20 million just in Hidalgo County, and then more money in Cameron County.
I heard 25 million, and from a very high up person.
Yeah. I think I know who it was.
Yeah, I'm not gonna say anything.
Yeah. Don't worry. We don't have to say names. And then, but there was also a debate whether it was all that was for the entire valley, or that was just for Hidalgo County. And then there was more money for Cameron because people wanted to maybe win Cameron as well, because we have Janie being there or whatever. So there were so there were money being thrown. Numbers. Being thrown. I
always thought in my head it was for the whole South Texas.
Yeah, no, it wasn't. It was never just for South Texas. It was for the Valley, and it would be no different than the millions and millions of dollars that were promised to be spent specifically by the Governor Abbott team apparatus in Harris County. And I was actually talking to a blogger from the Houston area, because I was like, okay, people are complaining about this. Like, did you hear about this too? Right, you did, right? He's like, oh yeah, no, I think it was on record that it was the Valley and Harris County. I think I read that someplace too. So there have been all kinds of things, and then you have like the governor's team, like, well, who said it? Who said these things? It wasn't us. You didn't hear out of the governor's mouth. And I'm like, well, yeah. And I'm not trying to imitate the person that was doing it on the Mars chat. I'm not doing that because I've heard it from other people that I've accused the governor's team of this promises that were made to the Valley, and it wasn't just. And they're like, who said it? Say
it's
it.
Crazy because you're talking about the Mars chat, and I don't even know who you're talking about. So you're more in the loops about the own chat, our own.
Yeah,
chat.
There you go. All right. So anyway, regardless. So So we know the names of some of these people that were that were recruiting candidates on behalf of the apparatus of the certain side of the Republican Party, because it's certainly these promises were not made by the Wilkes brothers. It wasn't made by the what you might call the alt-right Republicans or whatever, the crazy Republicans or whatever you want. These were made by people in the establishment circle on the establishment side that were tied to the governor's team that somehow were, but all of a sudden the money's not there. And I know there was one specific individual in the March chat that was really upset, and but I'd like to explain to him and to everybody else who might be thinking the same thing. These promises in terms of recruiting candidates were done a year ago, starting like last summer, not December right now, last summer through December. These were these promises that were made, or these, hey, we're going to have all this money, we're going to do that. That was before Governor Abbott, when Governor Abbott thought he was going to kick butt and he was going to take the Valley, and that he didn't see Gina Hinojosa as a threat to his reelection campaign. Things have changed, guys. Things have changed. The calculus has changed. So even if Governor Abbott himself didn't come with his, the 10 commandments of $20 million for Harris County, and the other tablet had $20 million for the Valley, even though he might have had that, and it's like Mel Brooks in The History of the World Part 1, where he comes out, there's 15 commandments, and one of them fell out. No, there's 10. Well, that's kind of what happened. The crap fell down. We have a competitive we have a competitive general election. You've seen polls. Fox News had a poll, I think, where Governor Abbott was up by 1 point. I don't buy that, but whatever. His internals probably show that he's not very, very close. You saw the governor flip on data centers. He's a guy who brought in data centers, and he flipped on it when he realized, where his team realized, people don't like it. Maybe we need to make some changes. I noticed that
pivot, and I'm glad he did it, because I have concerns. I'm not anti data center, but I am like, these data centers, they're big AI companies and Meta and all these people, and I think they could afford to bring their own solar panels and stuff like that. And I'd like to see them, if they're going to use water, to like maybe do desalination plants with brackish water or stuff like that. So my whole thing is, we shouldn't have like a big welcome sign. We should have hey, let's do a partnership, but it has to benefit the citizens and it has to benefit you guys. There's got to be a balance. And I guess as a Republican, maybe that might be a good thing to say, but but it is what it is.
Well, I mean, you're just more along the lines of a majority of Texans who oppose data centers. The majority of Texans oppose data centers, and for whatever reason, it took a while for the Governor Abbott's team to realize that. It didn't matter that I did mention it to some people that I know and his team a year ago, and say, hey, I'm a little concerned about this. I think we have a problem. Because I was seeing on my social media, I was seeing people both sides of the spectrum seemingly in opposition to these data centers, and it really started. I really started noticing it in Harlingen when you saw the commies oppose it, and you had some conservative Republicans oppose it. And I was seeing on my social media, I was talking to people, because I do have my ear to ground, like Sergio Sanchez, the radio guy, says, he always has his ear to ground. I don't like touching the ground because I'm a germaphobe, but I do have my ear to the figurative ground.
That's actually how we met, because you were a germaphobe.
That's exactly. That is how we met. So, I did. No, I didn't. No, liar. I
You had a big fit because I brought your food out once.
Oh, I did.
And you were like, I had requested. And then I said, oh, you're a germaphobe? Me too. And then you were like, what, really? And I was like,
yeah, exactly. That's cool. And it's a bonding mechanism, I guess. No, so I was concerned. So I voiced my concern. And he said, you might want to think about it.
And that's good that he listened, because I'll tell you what. In 2015, when I met Governor Greg Abbott at the Lincoln Reagan dinner in Valencia Event Center in McAllen,
that's fancy.
Yeah, he had those. He had the state troopers doing these roadblocks, and they were pulling people over at that time, kind of like what Trump's doing with ICE. Well, at that time Abbott was doing it, and I told him, "Hey, man, I'm a constitutional conservative. I voted for you, but these people are the same thing that I'm saying now with Trump." That they're harassing native Texans, and they would pull you over for, they try to get anything with probable cause. Oh, your license plate light's not on, and this and that, and they were to me that's harassment. But in like a week or two later, after I had that discussion with them, the roadblocks were gone, and I'm not going to attribute it to my discussion with them, but I'll tell you what, when I was talking to him, his security was like, hey, we got to go. We're behind schedule. And he was like, no, I'm talking to this young man. And then we continued talking. And that's actually where I got this picture of him at this event. Hey, let me get my laptop over here. But
now we're walking. I may be dizzy.
It was actually this day. And right there.
Oh, I can't really see. It's like the glare. Yeah, the glare. Oh, there you go.
Yeah, so that was in 2015 or 2016, one of those. But
it was probably 2015. He was running for office.
He was already in office when he came.
He was already in office.
Yeah, so it probably was 2016. I think it was February 2016. I think that's what it says up there. So.
Yeah, that makes more sense, because I think that's when y'all had your Lincoln Reagan dinner. Y'all did it in February as opposed to August, like you're doing it now.
Yeah,
that would make sense.
Another thing, now that we're talking about water, what do you think about? And I know you live closer to Santa Rosa, but that sugar mill that closed. And I'm glad that. People say, oh, it was Monica that helped get it, and president, and, people, but, I'm grateful for, whatever Monica's efforts and Trump's, but you got some people, haters, that are just like, oh, she didn't do anything. It was all Trump, but, whatever it might be, I mean, at least we're getting some water back.
That's always good. We need to have more water, obviously. Yeah. So so as far as the data center, so I'm glad he changed his, he pivoted. I'm glad that he listened, and I think he's now doing a little bit better. I have a feeling that his internals are showing him back to where he should be, which is probably ahead by 7-8 points, and he'll beat Gina. But that doesn't mean that he's happy with it, and that changes the calculus of whether they spend the money down here, whether they want to be able to fund candidates, and ultimately. Just like what I was saying earlier about Monica getting all that DC swamp money and being the one getting the money, and you're not necessarily seeing, Eric getting all that funding or Donald Ticanina getting all that funding, or challengers throughout the country, that are trying to win in competitive races so we can be able to increase the majority. So we're not having to worry about, some one rogue Republican holding up legislation because we can't get a majority on the House floor. That's what the Austin swamp is thinking. The same thing. They're trying to defend incumbents. So you have somebody like, I'll point to Jamie. Jamie getting a buttload of money, millions and millions of dollars to be able to win her seat. And I know I've heard from some Republicans, oh, she'll be fine. She's not going to lose. She's going to beat the crap out of him. Okay. If Monica is losing in her polling in a Trump 18 seat, and Democrats have him winning by 6. How the hell is somebody like Janie Lopez in a seat that she barely won? The lines have not changed. She won by 10 points in 2014 in a massive red wave, but when she first won, she only won by 3 points in a minor red wave. When that map was drawn, it was a Biden 2 seat. Biden won that seat in 2020. In a blue wave, how the hell is she pulling off? If you're seeing Monica getting her butt beat potentially, how is Janie going to win? Does she have a lot of Democrats supporting her? You don't think the Democrats are going to go down the ballot, palanca, and vote for the Democrat nominee? So even though people might think she's comfortably going to win, they're going to have to fund her with millions of dollars to be able to win. And what does that do? It means people like Dr. Laura Cisneros, who's running in 38, not going to get the money that she may have been promised. It means that somebody like Oscar Rosas, who's, I don't know, is he still running? I know he's on the ballot, but is he still running? Like,
he's running. Yeah, he's running for.
No, I know he's running. I know he's on the ballot, but I'm saying like, is he raising any money? Probably not, because he's just on the ballot because somebody can run. He's not gonna get any funding.
Well, I think he spent like $500,000 one time for his.
The first time, he's gonna do it this time. Like, why is he gonna do it?
I think now he's just like, I'm just gonna put my name on it
and see if they get money. Then you have Celeste is in what, 40?
She's in 40 with Terry Canales.
Is she getting funding? Do we even have anybody running against Mata Martinez in 30? What is it? 36? No, not 36. 39. 39. I don't know if we have anybody. Do we have anybody running against Sergio Munoz in 36? No, I don't think so. So is Gary getting the money? Is Gary going to get funding? Maybe. I mean, he's in an open seat. We thought he was going to get a crap ton of money. But they probably aren't giving him the money that he probably thought, we thought we were going to get in that seat to win that seat. Because, again, the electorate has changed. We have a blue wave. And Governor Abbott is trying to save himself. And the goal of the apparatus, of the establishment side, and we're talking about, like the roundtable people, TLR, the Texas Medical Association, the Texas Business Association.
I hope TLR gives Gary some money because they gave Sarah Sagredo Hammond $150,000 in a primary. So, I mean, judging by that metric and how important this general election is with, an incumbent not seeking re-election, I would think they would at least double that to like 300,000.
Yeah, you might, but in order to win that seat,
you need like 1.3 million probably.
Right. In order to win that seat. Yeah, you do. Yeah. Because it's no different than the amount of money that was spent when Janie was running in an open seat in 2022. They spent about $1.3 million, $1.5 million. Even in this last cycle, I think they spent like almost nearly $2 million to try to beat, Jonathan Garcia. So in order to win these seats, you have to have that kind of money. And that's why it was very... it was important when we had all these candidates potentially being recruited to run in these seats with the idea of having $20, $25 million, and you only have, I just named 38, 37, 35, 36, 30, 39, 40, 41. That's 7, right? So, and I think you have to include, did I say 35 as well already? I don't know, like 7, 8 seats. How do I see?
You said it.
Yeah, 7, 8 seats. So if you're going to do, on average, it's like what, $2 or $3 million per seat.
Yeah.
And he's like, we can win those kinds of races because guess what? Democrats aren't going to spend that kind of money. They don't have that kind of money.
No, and especially on House District 41, I think we should be spending a lot of money on that seat because, like I said, the incumbent's not seeking re-election, and then you got another gentleman. He's 26 years old, Julio Salinas,
a commie,
who is a Democrat socialist.
Which I refer to as communists. It's my, I'm allowed to have that opinion of these people that are communists.
Well, you're right, because it's a stepping stone,
They're commies.
To communism.
I mean, they want to call Republicans
fascists.
I don't want to get near fascists.
I don't want to get sued, or I don't want someone to say I'm slandering. So I'll just say Bernie endorsed. Bernie Sanders endorsed candidate, and I mean. Well,
I call every Democrat a communist at this point.
Right.
I mean, they're just a communist party. It's what they might as well just accept it. Just accept the label. It's okay.
And it's interesting because
it's so different than these people that used to be called liberals. They call me liberal. I'm a Democrat. I'm not liberal. But now they want to be called progressives. I'm a progressive. No, just take the label communist. There's nothing wrong with it. I mean, there's nothing wrong with being called a communist if you're a communist. Nothing wrong with it. Now, will I ever vote for a communist? No, because I think communists are nuts. I think communists are bad. I think they're bad for our country. I've never bought
What's
communists.
interesting, man, is that I went block walking with Alexis with the Kim Paxton campaign just to help Alexis out.
Okay,
And
okay.
I spoke to like 2 or 3 individuals
Communists?
that were Democrats.
Oh, okay.
And these were voters, and 3 of them told me that they were not going to vote for Julio because he was too far to the left, and that
Because
they
you
were
were the
gonna-
commie.
yeah, pretty much, and that they were going to be voting for Gary Groves. But they
Wow,
had questions. But they had questions to Gary Groves, and it's crazy because it was one of the main questions that me and Sergio Sanchez, when we were on the campaign, had when he says he's going to eliminate property taxes. You know, like, so how are you going to eliminate them? Because Sergio was like, hey, I'll reduce them by a certain amount, or we'll get rid of the school tax where it comes from the rainy day fund or whatnot. But like reducing it, I mean, what are you implying? Are you implying that we should do a state income tax that, is unconstitutional, or raising the consumption tax that will hurt, the, working class or the poorer people? So those are the questions that we had. And that's actually the same question that this retired gentleman in Central McAllen had. And he said, if you know Gary, tell him to come because I have some questions for him. And that was one of his questions. But
We don't we don't really have those answers, but let's just make an assumption that the way we're going to make up for loss of property taxes is sales tax dollars. That's what's going to happen.
Is with what?
With sales tax dollars. That's what's going to happen. That's the step. That's what that we're not going to have an income tax. We just have to go to sales tax dollars. And so when you go out to eat, you're going to be paying a crap ton of money.
So you're saying raising the consumption tax?
That's the only way to do it. There's no other way to do it.
Yeah.
To make up for the loss of revenue.
Well, it would hurt mothers that are buying diapers and necessities.
Yeah, right now, because I think right now those are tax free.
Okay. Well,
I think some of those items are currently tax free, and I don't believe that they would decide we're going to tax those if they're already tax free. But you're going to probably end up paying 8.25%. You'll probably have to pay 30% in your sales tax dollars, and you're going to see it. It's going to make you mad.
Damn.
But here's the somewhat positive side of doing that sales tax stuff, because you have people who pay rent. They don't pay property taxes. They don't realize that the rent pays for the property tax, but they don't understand it. They don't comprehend it. Again, these are voters too. They vote too. They don't get it, but they will understand. Oh, when it sales tax dollars, oh my, 30%. Like, what the hell? What happened? So now they're gonna understand they're paying a tax.
Right.
And that way they can feel it. And
back to what we were talking about on the polls. So I was on Kalshi this morning. And
are you like Chente?
It's 86% to 15, or 86 to 15, sorry, in favor of Greg Abbott against Gina Hinojosa.
Okay, again, that's so for people out there.
That's not a poll. That's not a poll.
Not a poll.
Yeah, that's just people betting their money.
Yeah, and there are people that say, you know what? I think at the end of the day, I think Governor Abbott's going to win by 1 point, 2 point. It doesn't matter. I think that's what's going to happen, and I'm going to vote for that person. I'm gonna spend by a bet $1,000 that Governor Abbott's going to end up winning. That's all it is. Yeah. I'm not I'm not going to use the word. Maybe I should say the word bet because it's not a bet because betting is illegal in Texas. But that's just the nomenclature, generally speaking. Okay, I don't know the actual word. They'll buy a contract. Is that what it is? You're buying a contract. You're saying this contract is $1,000, and if Governor Abbott wins, you pay me $2,000.
I don't know what the loopholes are, but
I don't know.
And then there's an Emerson college survey where Ken Paxton received 47.2%, and Talarico was at 46.2%.
Right.
I think you had shared that.
Yeah, I did. And the reason I shared it was because there is. Oh, somebody getting mad. Yelling, whatever. The people are not paying necessarily during the summertime. People are not paying attention, right? What summertime polls are almost junk because you're going on vacation. You're with the kids. You're making a cookout. You're out, doing a road trip. You're not paying attention to what the hell is going on. That's why some of these people that are doing TV spots in July, and by TV spots I mean ads in July. Why? Well, why? I mean, because Talarico's been doing it since like June. Why? Because he's trying to increase his name ID and he has money to burn. It's so dumb. So dumb. Because people aren't paying attention. People will now start paying attention once they start going back to school. It used to be with Labor Day. Labor Day is when people like the generic start of the real general campaign, because when people start paying attention. But that was when Labor Day was when the start of school. But it really is, people are not going back to school. They're going back into their routine. They're not on vacations. They're not at home. They're cooking dinner for the kids. They're doing all that kind of stuff. Now, assuming they still have kids. Because the communists didn't even have kids anymore. I don't even know if they believe in having children, but yeah, it is what it is. They're paying attention now. And so now, when you have a poll that was done by Emerson at August 9th through 10th, it was a 2-day poll, which is strange to me, but they had 1,000 likely voters, which is a high number. Usually you do 3 or 4 days and do a poll, but they did it over 2. And that showed that Ken Paxton was winning, which is what I expect. I expect Paxton to win by a point. That is my confirmation bias. I believe he's going to ultimately win. He's not going to win by 5. He's not going to win by 10. He's going to win by a point because Texas is still a conservative state. And people are now, okay, now I'm getting taken seriously. All right, the primary runoff is over. Let's say I was a John Cornyn voter, right? Let's say I voted for John Cornyn. I hate Paxton. I'm not going to vote for him. That was in May, and now I had a great time. I went to Cabo, I went to Cancun, I went to the island. I went someplace. I went to Nashville. I don't fucking know where I went to. So I did that for it again. I'm sorry. That's only 2, okay? In an hour and 2 hours, it's pretty good. It's pretty good, okay? Mm-hmm. Only 2 hours. So I don't know where I want to go. I just go random places. And now I'm back. And I started learning a little bit about Talarico. And I don't like the guy. I think he's nuts. He's crazy. What? He believes
I have a quote here from Talarico. So during a 2021 debate involving transgender athletes in intersex conditions, Talarico said, modern science obviously recognizes that there are many more than 2 biological sexes. In fact, 6.
Okay, there's a difference between a gender and a sex. Okay, there is a difference between gender and sex. Gender is this social construct that a bunch of weirdo people came up with. And, the little psychologists and all these people that they come up with the idea of gender. When everybody prior to that was just talking about sex, male or female, that's it. There was no gender. And It was just a way of inching forward to this idea of a whole bunch of genders, which is ridiculously dumb.
Right. Well, even Bill 9 in 1996, said XX chromosome, XY when it comes to,
that's it.
Biological. So, but now Bill Nye contradicts himself from 1996. Now he says other stuff, but.
Well, because he's a communist, right? He's a communist. They're all communists. But no, so back in the day, like I think we were talking about, I think the idea of the gender came out, was maybe the 60s? Maybe you can do an AI search there. The first idea of gender, the gender barrier. When did that come up? Maybe in the 60s or something.
Let me look it up, but keep going.
Oh, my are we going to be done in 8 minutes? Because I'm getting told I need to be done in 8 minutes. So we're going to be done in 8 minutes. I got to go. What was it telling you? Oh, yeah. So they came up with
that'll put us 8 minutes. Will put us at exactly 2 hours.
Right. Exactly. That's cool. Fine. Work for me. So you had the idea of a gender, but are there more than is an intersex really a sex? No, it's not. There are 2 sexes, male and female. That's it.
Right.
No more. Of different chromosomes. Yeah, there might be different chromosomes. Yeah. Though. But those are not what I determined to be sexes, believed to be sexes. That was never taught in biology. In my freshman biology class, they didn't tell me that there were multiple sexes. There wasn't. There's just 2. They're done. But this guy believes that. So when people start hearing him talk like that, they'll be like, he's nuts. He's crazy. Like, why is he saying these things? Texans are not necessarily going to vote for that guy. They're going to figure out, this guy's an idiot. This guy's crazy, and they're not going to vote for him. Is he going to get close to winning? Yes, but I think he's ultimately going to. So now people are finally paying attention. So Emerson polling is a legitimate, real pollster. I'm not saying all pollsters are great, but these guys are pretty okay. Yeah. And so I think we should pay attention to that because it was the first poll that was done only in August, right when people are starting to go back to school, getting into their routine. And I think we're going to find, more polling is going to come out that's going to show Paxton either tied or ahead. That's what we're gonna find. We're gonna start seeing that, and then I think Republicans will start, uniting like they're supposed to, and he's ultimately going to win.
And what do you think about the timing on like this Bobby Pulido videos? Like, obviously, there's a lot of people that hold stuff for the October scare. Do you think the timing was premature on all this Fox News and hit pieces on Bobby?
No, the reason they're doing those things is so that way, when they do these negative polling or negative TV spots, when they do these negative spots, they can quote, the New York Post said this in March, or the Washington Post did this in January and whatever. And they have that nice little date. So people have been investigating him and they've had these things. And that way they have it in there.
Yeah.
I mean, it's no different. It's no different than what happened with, and sometimes I'm not saying this happened, but it happens. I'm not saying this happened in this instance, okay? But it happens. Campaign operative gives a call to a reporter. Like, hey, I got a great story for you. What is it? Hey, man, if I give you this stuff, maybe you could write a nice little cool story about this. It's like, maybe, yeah, sure. Why? Oh, wow, this is good stuff. Oh, wow, let me write it. And then a couple of days later, Bobby Pulido had this issue. We had no idea. Like, we didn't know this. It was discovered by these nonpartisan journalist person, whatever. Well, that's what happens. And so that I'm not saying it happened here, but it does happen from time to time. I mean, it's just interesting how these stories just happen and these press releases just come out like the next day, like they're ready to go. And then the same stories are then used to do negative pieces. I mean, negative attack ads. It's just amazing how it happens that way. Just absolute coincidence.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Democrats do it, Republicans do it. They'll do it.
Let me throw a ball on your side of the court. Should Republicans prioritize Eric Flores?
What do you mean prioritize?
Not prioritize, but I mean, like.
Well, you literally said prioritize, so now you're saying not prioritize.
Okay, in the way of like, we're seeing the RNC and stuff, having people here, but I haven't really heard of.
Okay, yeah, okay, that's what you're saying.
Well,
okay,
that's what I meant. I meant like at the federal level, like from the Republican Party, I guess.
Because I'm a Republican, obviously, and I say vote for everybody on the ticket. I'm supporting everybody on the ticket. That's just me. I mean, look. Do I always vote for every single person that's a Republican? Do I skip ballot races? Yeah, every once in a while I'll do. I mean, if I don't feel like they're worthy of my vote, I won't vote for that person. But I think everybody just unite and let's vote for whoever nominee is. I didn't vote for Eric in the primary. I was very vocal against Eric and his campaign, but that's not personal. None of the things that I said or do is ever personal. And I think it's all professional, and I was defending my friend Myra, and she's who I supported. And I think some of the things some of my concerns of Eric are finding their way into the general election. Some things that I said about him, I feel people are still have concerns of, and general election voter
I saw a Democratic operative reference him as generic, which is a term you would use a lot too.
Yeah, well, I mean, look, I'm voting for Eric. I support Eric.
I'm not saying you came up with it, but
I may have.
Yeah.
See, the politics is when you're doing messaging, when you're trying to figure out what is a button, what is something that is concerning for a candidate for whatever reason. You figure something out. I mean, I called him Timu Ken. I don't get me. I love Eric. Okay.
And you call this other guy China something, right?
China Chente, or
yeah,
people like. So you pick a nickname and you go with it. Or
it reminds me of Trump in 2015, 2016, calling Elizabeth Warren Pocahontas and Little Marco and
Lion Ted Cruz kind of stuff. You know what? And it still works. It still works, dude. Did I freeze? Man, I froze. I froze again.
I see you
Okay, good.
perfectly.
All right. Now you got no, because I could see like little things and I froze. Man, my internet.
Well, we got 40 seconds.
Okay. Well, I'll make it very quickly. So I had some concerns. I said, he feels like a perfect candidate, like perfect hair, perfect suit, perfect family, perfect everything. He checks all the boxes. He's a veteran. He's a prosecutor. He's put bad guys in jail. He's all this stuff, and it's like. But there was still that idea of, okay, but what does he believe? I think he's a conservative. I believe Eric Flores is a conservative. I talked to him. I have conversations with him. He's taken my advice, and I'm grateful for that. And I'm grateful that we have a relationship, a friendship now. He's a bro. I consider him a good guy. I'm voting for him. I have no problems telling people to vote for him. But it does not mean that I didn't have these concerns, and these concerns aren't still there for other people,
Right.
And I know because I have sources. Obviously, I I have rats, but I have rats in other ways, and not necessarily rats.
Who are these rats, man?
I'm not naming names.
Is it one rat?
Multiple. I have rats plural. Okay. Anyway,
how long have you been getting information?
Let's not go there. Let's not talk about that. Okay. I'm not gonna really reveal my sources. Okay. So I said this because I did have a concern. I believed in the primary that in the general election we were going to find people not necessarily wanting to vote for Eric because they feel that he is like an empty suit, or that he is generic, like he's just like this perfect person. And the best way for Eric to win, and I've given him this advice, is to show people that he's real, like he's legit, like he's he's a family man. He believes what he believes. He's going to tell you what he believes. He needs to show these to people, and if he does it, he's going to win people over. If people can get past the perfect hair, because he had perfect hair, man, I'm fucking jealous. I did it 3 times.
I don't know how he does it.
I don't know how he does it, but he said he had like this cheap thing, and I said the F word again.
The gel I use is $25 a bottle.
No, he uses like a $2 or $3 thing he buys at HEB, and I don't know what it is because he hasn't told me the name of it, but he's like, it's really cheap, and he's a good guy. So he has gray hair, right? I don't think I can use that kind of gel at all, even if I had it, because as I've gotten older, my hair is thinned out. So if I do gel, you're going to see more scalp, and I don't want to do that. So it's like what it is. That's what happens when you age, right? That's what happens. So, no, so I think it was a problem in the primary. I made reference to it. I think it's still sort of a problem now, but if he can fix these things, he'll be fine, and he can potentially win it. So like you're saying, prioritize. So to answer your question, yes.
I think he's a great candidate. I didn't know him much, but I think it's impressive that he was an AUSA and what he does for a living as an attorney, and then he was part of the National Guard.
Yeah.
Yeah, the other day a friend of mine came. He was in the National Guard. We'll talk about him later, but I got a picture here with Eric, that picture right here.
Mm-hmm.
And he said, "Hey, that was my commander." And I was like, "Really?" And this guy, he was in the National Guard. He was a Mexican American. He's a Hispanic guy, and he's the one that shot a illegal, I guess, that was coming in during the Biden administration. He got a lot of pushback. But we'll talk about him later. I know you got to go, but
yeah, I have to go. Sorry.
Yeah.
No, but I will tell you that I think he's an impressive candidate. He can be. He is. We do need to unite, but we have some issues over here in my county where people are not necessarily they're causing problems that they probably shouldn't be doing, because not everybody is going to be able to flip a switch and say, okay, I'm supporting the nominee. Some people take a little bit of time. And then when you have certain individuals that are out there saying the things that they're saying and trying to force them to do it, makes it harder for them to do it. It makes it more difficult. If they've taken this long, I think at this point it's incumbent on us Republicans to explain to them what Eric is, what he believes. Oh, what the hell happened there? Now we have a countdown. Oh, there you go. And it's up to him to be able to do it, and I think he will, and I think ultimately he will be able to. But the RNC needs to put more money into his race. I think if Monica has done everything she's going to be able to do, you need to start raising money and giving money to Eric so he can make sure he wins, because I know his polling says he's up big on Chente, big enough. Chenta's polling that I've heard, Chenta's up by 6 in his polling. And if Bobby Pulido is up by 6 in a Trump 18, well, this was a Trump 10. And if I'm not saying that Chenta's Bobby Pulido, but he beat Myra in a Trump red wave, and it wasn't because Myra was a bad candidate. It was just that.
I think what I liked about Myra, and I know you got to go, but was she didn't always like vote with the party.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's something that's honorable, because I'm not going to say Republicans and Democrats are always right. And sometimes, it's discouraging to see Democrats like unified, like no matter what, they're going to vote within party lines more. And with Republicans, you'll see more people kind of, hey, I'm not going to vote for that.
All right.
So,
Yeah.
but alrighty, man.
Well, we'll talk later.
Joining, and this is the
we'll
first
do again.
of many. Hopefully next time we have some other guest speakers that want to come on as well and chime in.
Or people comment, or it actually gets streamed properly next time.
Yeah, I mean, this time, I don't know, like on my Facebook, it's on my Facebook, but it has a little lock on it. So I got to figure out why.
How to do that. Well, we'll end it, and maybe we can figure out together or something like that.
But at least right now, hopefully I could just, I think it's recording this thing. So
yeah, as soon as you end it, it'll stop, and then you'll probably be able to switch the lock off into whatever.
The bad thing is nobody was able to ask questions. I think that would have been cool, but
yeah,
next time we'll be able to.
We'll get it. Okay, cool. All right. Well, we better go.
All right. Take care, man. See you later, bro. Yeah. Bye-bye.
Bye.